Tours and Tournaments, a DLC for the map-based strategy game Crusader Kings 3. In this game, you play as a ruler, jousting, feasting, and taxing your pathetic peasants. It is a ton of fun, unless of course, you were those peasants. Upon release of this new DLC, the people at Paradox Interactive sponsored me to make this video, which was their first mistake. And they asked me to come up with the most difficult challenge possible. And that was their second mistake. Now, given that I've played a ton of it and found some pretty juicy exploits, today I want to see if I can create the most powerful army in the entire world, starting as a mere peasant. And today we'll be playing as Peasant Peter, who was just handed a mirror for the first time ever. And he is looking good. So playing as Peasant Peter over here, we get to start in the county of Mon. Now this is a pretty tragic start. The Isle of Mon only has one castle in it with 2 building slots, both of which are empty. We're making almost no gold per month. We have absolutely terrible prestige, and we only have 300 troops, all of which are levies who have 10 attack damage. When comparing that to somebody like, I don't know, say the Byzantine Empire with 4,600 troops, most of whom are cataphracts with 120 damage, it's easy to see if we tried anything, we would get rolled pretty quickly. And you'll notice we don't even start as independent. We roll up to our liege here, Ivar the Boneless. So we are under his thumb, and every month we have to pay him additional taxes and a portion of our troops. This might be one of the weakest starts of the game right now. We have less troops than Wales. To be fair though, I'm pretty sure they're just putting sheep in helmets over there. So to summarize, we're broke with like 0 prestige. We have a tiny piece of land with no buildings on it. We're a mere peasant paying most of our money to our liege, and we only have 300 troops, all of whom are absolutely terrible. But not to worry, because Peter the Peasant over here will pretty soon control the most powerful army on this entire map. And to top it all off, he's going to do it completely alone, controlling only 1 regiment of men-at-arms and 1 holding. All thanks to the way in which they reworked the army mechanic. I just want to take a quick second here. If you like this video and are interested in picking up the DLC, my referral link is in the description. You'd help support this small channel and get a DLC that's actually a ton of fun in my opinion. So why not, you know? And I think for like 5 extra gold coins, you can save a bunch of money and pre-order the rest of the DLCs for this year. Anyways, thank you, and we'll get back to it. So before the DLC came out, making an army was pretty straightforward. You basically made heavy infantry, which were the best units and gave the most damage, and then you started building barracks everywhere, because that gave you a percentage boost for each one you built. And that's the way everyone played. Heck, they even acknowledged that in the dev diary and totally nerfed that tactic. They also explicitly stated they were reworking this mechanic to keep the modifier stacking reasonable. And then they gave me a copy for some reason? That was their third mistake. So today, using that new mechanic, we're going to take this terrible start and using every single exploit I know, we're gonna see if just one single men-at-arms unit can carry us through the entire game. Naturally, I'm gonna start off by building our Varanian Veterans. Now, these are special units that the Norse Vikings can build, and they deal 47 damage. Right off the bat, I'm going to build 1 unit. You'll notice once I've done that, you actually now have to station the men-at-arms units in a holding. You now have to make sure your units are living somewhere to get some bonuses. So if I have them living in my capital, you can see that we get an extra 13.5 damage. They get a boost from being in the realm capital and from our building the tribal hold. And as soon as I saw this, I was excited because I knew if they gave the tribal holding boost to men-at-arms damage, well, other buildings would have it too. And oh boy, do these buildings give you boosts. If you take a look at war camps, every stationed heavy infantry unit is going to get plus 20% damage. So you can imagine, these buildings coupled with some exploits and other ways I found to completely beef up this regiment, we're gonna be unstoppable. So getting into it, our first order of business is going to be hosting a feast. Now, I'm gonna make sure the dish complexity of my feast is maxed out, which will give me more prestige. Because while I'm tribal, I can buy these special units with prestige, and when I can max them out to 5 of 5, I can start going raiding. Perfect, so our feast is over. We have gained 300 prestige. I'm gonna use that to buy more men-at-arms. So now that we have about 500 troops, I'm going to go out and start doing some raiding. Every time we raid somewhere, that'll give us gold. This is going to kickstart our economy to allow us to start doing things like building more buildings. So with our gold from raiding, I'm gonna buy markets and then palisades. Now I know what you're thinking. Ottawa, the barracks are clearly the best buildings for your men-at-arms. Why would you build other random buildings? And this is where our first exploit of the day comes in. This is not a new exploit. Spiff covered this one already, and that video has millions of views. You cannot convince me not one person at Paradox saw that video. So if they didn't patch it by now, I'm using it. Very quickly summarized, in CK3, you can build a building only once, meaning if I were to build barracks giving me plus 20% boost to my men-at-arms, well then I couldn't build a second barracks. However, with Spiff's exploit, you actually can do just that. All you have to do is change out one of your existing buildings, and then before that building is replaced, I go and try and change the second building to war camps also. And so long as I leave this screen up, as soon as the first building changes over to war camps, this building's also allowed to change to a war camp, allowing you to effectively have 2 war camps. Don't ask me how it works.
All of this just works.
So now after that's completed, we now have 2 barracks buildings, boosting our heavy infantry damage by 50. So we've just doubled the amount of damage these guys have done in 50 years.
Look at all this damage!
But trust me, we are only just scratching the surface of what's possible here. And now, from humble beginnings, Peasant Peter over here leads what is probably the most powerful army in this small region. Oh, but I have to test them out. We should be able to roll over armies like triple our size at this point. Okay, let's test it out on Brittany. 1700 versus 600. Absolutely too easy. Okay, so that works pretty well. Let's move on to phase 2 now. So I'm currently 45 years old, and you might be asking yourself, why have I been so prestige hungry this life? Why have I been doing everything in the name of prestige? Well, I'm trying to become a living legend. Basically, if you amass enough prestige over time, you become a living legend. I mean, good old Peter over here. Always been a bit of a living legend, but it's not been official.
Hey, yo, what the?
And once you're a living legend, you can execute the decision to elevate the kingdom of Man and the Isles. Now, this is not a new decision. I've done this before, and they actually nerfed it. But what this will allow me to do is quickly become a king, and once we are a king, I've found so many ways to beef up these men-at-arms that you won't even be able to look at these soldiers without getting murked. So in order to get enough prestige to fulfill this, I'm gonna start executing some of the new decisions and mechanics they added to the game, like hosting a grand tournament. So I'm gonna increase the amount I spend on these, 1, to give me more prestige, and 2, if I win, I wanna get a sick artifact from this tournament. When hosting a tournament, you'll be able to visit all these different locations prior to each event. I like to go to the tourney grounds to increase my progress towards victory. Now there's a ton of different pop-ups and events and things to read during this. I'm not gonna show them, I'm just gonna pick the options with the best possible chance of success, partially because I'm illiterate.
Illiteracy. Yo, what does that word even mean?
And it looks like we've won the final duel. I won, I actually won. Look at this lad, he's so happy. I literally look at this dude and I feel like he's about to ask me who you calling Pinhead.
Who you calling Pinhead?
And we gained a prized axe, which gives us 11 prowess. Oh my days, that's a pretty good axe. As well as 600 prestige. Now, we are also unmarried. So what I'm going to do is host a grand wedding. This will not only give me better options for spouses, but it will also allow me to gain a ton of prestige at the wedding. So after a bunch of different pop-ups and events, we can say I do and marry this woman. So from that wedding, we gained 12,000 prestige. Oh, and we had a son. Look at this lad. Oh my days, he's a genius. Where did that even come from? It's guaranteed not my kid because neither me nor my wife are a genius. So how that happened, I have... Perfect. Okay. I will educate him and hope... Oh, look at this kid, bro. Okay, upon examining more evidence, there's no way he's not my kid. So just taking a look, my liege is currently at a war and he is losing against Scotland. He only has 683 troops. So what I'm going to do is declare war on him for my independence. Oh, and we captured him in battle. Perfect. And we are now independent. Okay, so I am old. I'm 75 and I don't think I'm going to live long enough to get living legend. So it's time for exploit 2. Bullying simulator. So here's what we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna try and find another wife, but this time I'm going to marry based on prestige gain. Because she's from a royal family, I'll get 500 prestige. It's very good for me to marry into a royal family. And this prestige will help me make my way on up to living legend. So just like this, I'll gain 500 prestige, easy as you like.
Hello there.
And then we'll go ahead and just divorce her. So I'm going to do the exact same thing over and over and over again until I have enough prestige to be a living legend. So let's see, can I do this again with the same woman? I can, yes, perfect. Oh, I am actually gonna put this woman through so much emotional distress.
Emotional damage. bitch.
Eventually.
So we are now a living legend. Perfect. And we can get rid of her once and for all. The only true way to divorce. Now we can go ahead and elevate the kingdom of man and the Isles. Let them see their new king. So we become a king. At last, my dream achieved. No, that's 100,000 subscribers. Subscribe if you're not already. So you'll see our army size went up like crazy, and that's because we got a bunch of special units with that decision. So in the spirit of the challenge, I'm going to put them all on a boat and ship them off to sea until they starve to death. Easy come, easy go. Jeez, the evil Ottawa anime are coming in strong, bruh. Also, with our massive amount of prestige, what I really want to do is reform or diverge our culture. With this, I can add new traditions to my culture, such as being warriors by merit and only the strong. Now, the key thing about both of these is that they both have bonuses to accolade glory, something we haven't talked about yet, but it's going to be critically important for boosting our men-at-arms damage by insane amounts. Ooh. Whoa, we've died, okay? So we'll be playing as our son here, King Peter Peterson.
Look at me, look at me.
Now, his father might have been known for toying with a woman's emotion just because she was slightly related to a faraway king, or bringing the Isle of Man from a smelly, undeveloped mud pit to a kingdom of feared raiders. But Peterson over here has a clean slate, and only time will tell what he does with it. Okay, what's this pop-up? This is new. Behold, I am Yahalavatar.
Illiteracy.
Yahalavatar the Reckless. Bring me tankards of ale, women, and pudding, lest you tempt my wrath. Bruh, this is a sick decision, actually. I literally 15 cold coins, and I can get this guy at my court. And he's actually sick. He loves pudding, and he's got 24 prowess and 19 martial. He's gonna be perfect for me. Come on, Pudding Pants, join me. And this is the perfect opportunity to talk about the amazing bonuses you can get from knights. So your army is composed not only of men-at-arms units, but also of knights. And because we're a king now, we could bestow upon knights an accolade, which is essentially a fancy title allowing the knight to specialize in something and give you insane bonuses. For example, Pudding Pants, who we just picked up, could be a tactician, contender, thug, or valiant. Now, each of these have their own bonuses at different levels, but I love valiant because as this knight gains more glory XP and levels up, I can get up to 30% army damage bonuses on top of all the existing bonuses we've already been stacking. And now I can hear you saying, wow, that's amazing. But wait, it gets even better. But first, we can even name this accolade. So instead of Pride of the Man of the Isles, well, he loves pudding so much, let's go with the Knights of Pudding Pants. And let's go ahead and create this accolade.
Boom.
Beautiful. The next accolade I want to give is to this guy in my court. I want to give it to him because I know he's got strong and he's Norse, so he'll be able to have the Vanguard perk. And this one's completely busted also. At level 6, it gives me plus 6 heavy infantry regiments and plus 60 damage to heavy infantry units, which will essentially make our Vikings with axes into Space Marines with laser eyes. Now, naturally, you might be asking yourself, well, how do we get these guys to level 6? Well, that's done through something called glory. And you get glory by winning battles or participating in tournaments. But I've already set it up, so we've essentially cheesed this and could just speed run glory here. And in just a matter of years, these guys will be at level 6. See, we're Norse Vikings, so we're constantly raiding and getting into battles. Not to mention, I picked these cultural tenets, which give us boost to our glory. So these guys are gonna rank up in literally no time. I've also picked up the Burr's Innovation. And with that, that will allow me to begin construction on crown smithies. Now, these will reduce my men-at-arms maintenance and increase the damage my station heavy infantry do. So the next part of my plan consists of island hopping down over here into the Byzantine Empire, specifically because the Greek culture has the Eastern Roman legacy. Not only will this reduce the cost to my men-at-arms, but will allow us to have plus 2 max heavy infantry regiments. So I'm gonna war them, take a piece of their land, and then begin trying to meld our two cultures together so I gain access to this unique Greek cultural tenet. Okay, so a few years have passed. We've picked up this little county here in Iberia and this small county in Sardinia, and we can now communicate with all these massive empires. So what I'm gonna do for now is just keep raiding around down here, these really rich countries, and just kind of pad my bank account. A bored berserker. I got the same pop-up again. Bring me tankards of ale, women, and gingerbread. Oh my god, we got the gingerbread boy. Oh yes, the other accolade. I can change him to be the successor, and we can call this the Knights of the Gingerbread Man. Look at the little thickums, bro. He's so fat, he's clipping through his own body. Okay, so we got a little kid. Bro, this kid is sick. He is a Herculean genius. So I am a genius and my wife is a Herculean. Oh my days. You shall be Peter the Final. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and actually declare war down here on Crete. So it looks like we've taken 100% war score here just by capturing the main holding. I'll go ahead and enforce these demands. So I'm going to go ahead and execute my ability to go on a grand tour that culminates in a cultural festival, ultimately increasing popular opinion and cultural acceptance. And once the cultural acceptance is above 40, we can form a hybrid culture and get Eastern Roman legacies. So we'll begin this and slowly make our way down from the Isle of Man to Crete. So a little while has passed and we've just arrived. And just by starting this cultural festival, our cultural acceptance will go up by 2.5%. I've been enjoying the festivals. As a result, we could increase the cultural acceptance between our two cultures by 10%. So from that, we can finish our grand tour. And if we come over here to the Crete people now, we can form a hybrid culture with them. And this hybrid culture will have Eastern Roman legacies. And I'm sensing a kind of a naming thread here with our knights. And especially because we have heavy infantry, I think we should call our hybrid culture the Thick Boys. The Thick Boy hybridization. Okay, so we've died. And to be honest, Peterson over here was pretty boring to play as. He didn't do much. But now we'll be playing as Peter the Final. And with a name like that, oh baby. Now, what I'm gonna try and do is get his hasty looter.
What does that word even mean?
Hasty looter experience on foot all the way up to 3 because that will give us more men-at-arms regiments. I'm going to do that by continuously hosting grand tournaments and participating in them myself. The other thing you'll note is the Thick Boy culture has researched some innovations, namely household soldiers to increase the max number of men-at-arms regiments we can have, and bailiffs to give us 1 additional building slot. So you'll notice in our capital, we now have 4 whole building slots. I'm gonna do the exact same exploit we did last time and pick up 2 blacksmiths, which gives stationed men-at-arms damage plus 10% per level we upgrade it. And now you can see that we could upgrade all our buildings even higher. Our barracks can go up as high as level 4, which will give us plus 80% to heavy infantry damage. Same thing with our blacksmith, each giving us 40%. So I'm gonna upgrade all these and then we'll check back in. Okay, so we finished the grand tournament and now have tier 3 on foot, meaning with all the bonuses we've stacked, we could have 20 units of Varangian veterans per regiment instead of the normal 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and just max these bad boys out. And you'll notice from our buildings in our Isle of Man, they get an extra 130 damage, giving them 190 damage total. That's way better than those cataphracts we saw at the beginning of the game. Plus, we have a 60% and 30% bonus respectively from our accolades with our knights. I've also gone down this first tree here, picking up hit and run, which gives us an increase to our heavy infantry damage. And this should allow Peter the Final to control the most powerful army in the entire world. The only other problem I'm gonna have is these amazing Varangian veterans over here don't have any ability to siege holdings. So if I were to try and raid Rome, for example, well, they have a 10 fort level. We wouldn't be getting in. So what I'm going to do is pick up a couple onagers just so we can siege a little bit better. I know, I'm a dirty cheater. I know. Now, I've been looking around. The Pope has 4,000 guys. I think that's a good starting place. Oh, and we just stack wiped them. 4,600 showed up and 3 survived. Oh my god. Next up, I think the Byzantine Empire. I've been licking my lips at them. They have 7,000 guys. Okay, here we go. 1,800 versus 69. Too easy. Now I want to end it off by fighting the most powerful army in the entire world. The Magid Empire. This empire has been gaining power, grooming rulers, filling their coffers, and building an army of 11,000 units. And that's who we're gonna take on. Okay, and here they come, 13,000 dudes against our 4,000. Oh, we are just destroying them. And out of 13,000 guys, only 8 survived. With our Varanian Space Marines getting 3,500 and absolutely lasering everybody else. Oh my god, we just destroyed them. That was literally the biggest army in the world, and we just wiped them up like it was nobody's business. I think that's where we leave it today, folks. If you're interested in picking up the DLC and want to support the channel, the link's in the description. If not, just a like, comment, and a subscription helps me out so much, goes so far. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
The Ottawa Welshman is CK3, man, I'm the king of this land. If you want renown, well, I got it. The way I run my house, you know you want it. Got 1,000 sons, all named John. They probably don't know that their cousin is the mom. Tutorials played through, speed runs to win. No challenge too great for the Ottawa Welshman.